and today I'm doing another review. Today I'm doing the second part of my e.l.f. brush review, so stick around. So as I mentioned before, you can get the e.l.f. brushes in a lot of different places. Your drugstore, you can get them in places like Ulta, etc. If you do not live in the States and you're not planning on visiting there anywhere in the near future, you can also get them online. A lot of different places. You can get them at Beauty Joint or Cherry Culture, or one of the two. You can find them all over the place in eBay. A lot of sellers are selling these, and you can also, as of like a year ago or even a little bit less, you can pick them up on iHerb as well. That's where I picked up mine. Mine was $30, and that includes the 11 brushes that you can see right here. 11 brushes, yes, 11 brushes, and the case that it comes in. So I'm going to start in reviewing. I will mention that some of these brushes, like I know the stippling brush is dirty, and that's because some of these brushes are very well loved and used on a daily basis, and that's why some of them might be a little bit dirty. So I'm going to start with the case actually, and I'll point out that this is a nice case. It's flat, it zips up like so, and it doesn't take up a lot of space at all. I don't know if you would carry this around in your daily makeup bag, but you can definitely use it for traveling. And also, if you prop it up at a certain angle, it will stand up by itself, but it's not really supposed to be standing up by itself. Or you can, what I do is lay it flat or lean it up against something, like a cup or glass or something, and then you can have it open. I've recently learned it's recently been pointed out to me that I really should not keep my brushes out in the open because they collect dust. And for somebody like me who's actually very good about keeping their face clean and their general hygiene when it comes to makeup and cosmetics, it's pretty odd that I have my makeup brushes out, especially in a place that Americans are not so much like this. I've noticed when I've been in the States, but where I live, you have the windows open quite often, and I think it's dustier here. Maybe it's because I live in what you would consider a deserty area, but if you do tend to keep, in general, if you tend to keep your makeup brushes out, they are likely to collect dust. So I have started noticing the kind of cases that I'm getting with my makeup brushes or getting individually, and that's why I really like this, because as opposed to the Real Technique cases, this completely closes off, so you don't have any dust coming in here. I'm going to get started with my favorite brush. Now, I was acquainted with e.l.f. brushes first when I got 3 brushes as separate. Like the other line, you can get these as one big kit, and then you get the case to go along with it, or you can get these individually. The advantage of getting it in a kit, again, is the case. I get these 3 different brushes, okay, separates, and I found myself using these so much that I knew I had to get the kit, and because I got this, I decided to also get the white line. All the brushes are synthetic. The fibers on these, except for the stippling brush, which the tips are a little bit white, in my case kind of foundation color, they're all black. In fact, the entire brush is black. So you have the black fibers, you have the black metal, and then you have the black handle, and then you have your what it is written on the side in white. And so far it's been pretty resistant. I'm going to do what I always do with brushes that have stuff written on them, and I'm going to just cover it with a clear coat of nail polish. Anyways, this is the powder brush. This is a flat top powder brush. It's very nice and dense. I have 2 of these, and these are my go-to foundation brushes. And what you do is I just put some in the middle, and then I tap it with my brush, and then I just in circular motions insert my foundation. And this is so good. I think the best indicator that how much I love this brush is the fact that I'm using this almost on a daily basis, unless it's really gross and disgusting, and 2 of my brushes are not in use, are dirty or drying or whatever. So that's the only way I would not be using these brushes. The other brush that I got was the stipple brush, and it's like a standard 187 or those dual fiber ones. I actually do own one of the stippling brushes by MAC, which are not cruelty free, and I have to say that I've never been a big fan, and I've been told that I just need to try a different stipple brush. So I have tried this. Every now and then I will use it to apply my foundation, but I'm not a big fan of stippling brushes, I think, in general. I just like the really nice dense ones. This one has a nice density, but it's not dense, and the top of it just feels like the bottom. It's not like the 187 where you can definitely tell that the top has less fiber than the bottom, less hairs. On to the next brush. It's the blush brush. It's a dome-shaped flat brush. And I use this actually for contouring a lot of times, simply because I like how it has this angle. You can use it at an angle and then kind of work it in. I also use for bronze a lot of times the angle foundation brush, but recently, and this is nice and dense and wonderful, this is definitely worthwhile for foundation, and I'm going to start using it because a lot of times what I do is I put on the first layer of foundation, and then I go in and I add foundation around my nose, which tends to be, my tips are red, and then under my eyes sometimes, but not where I would put my concealer. So I'm actually going to start using that for this. This is a nice, wonderful, dense brush. This totally worth using for foundation. The other brush that definitely competes for my affection, because I really like these kind of brushes, you know, nice big brushes. This is a complexion brush, so I would use it for powder or even using it for blush because it's not too big, and you can definitely use this for applying your blush together with your bronzer. You know, sometimes you need to kind of slightly work them in together so they don't look like two stripes. So this is definitely a really nice brush. A brush that I have nothing to say about simply because I've never used these kind of brushes is the fan brush. So I'm just going to skip it because I've never used this. I might start using it just in order to be able to form an opinion on this. But I've never really used these. These never really appealed to me. I know you can use these for bronzer and blush and stuff like that, or for sweeping underneath your eyes, but I just never do that. So, okay. The next 5 brushes are all, I guess you would say, they're all eye brushes. Yes, indeed. So I'm going to start with the concealer brush, which is a nice, dense, firm kind of brush. It's a flat top. Flat and stiff, slightly domed on top. I do not use this because I don't use concealer that much. If you've been watching me or watching my tutorials, you've kind of picked up on that already. So I just use this for eyeshadow. I use this for eyeshadows that you really want to be able to pick up a lot, like loose pigment or stuff like that, or even cream. This is all synthetic, so you should have no problem with what's the word? Creamy consistency or liquid consistency of any sort, and I really like this. I've found myself using this a lot. And then along with that you have the eyeshadow C brush, which is a bigger brush. I'm going to put these right next to each other so you'll be able to see them. As you can see, and this one, it looks slightly grayish simply because it has eyeshadow in it. It is bigger and it is fluffier. It also has somewhat of a flat density. It also is really nice dense, less dense. But this is really nice if you're like looking for a replacement for the 217 by MAC, because you can use it for applying your eyeshadow but also kind of blending in the crease or even blending in on top. So this is a really nice brush. If you're going to get only one brush, you wanted to do a one brush eye look, I definitely recommend the C eyeshadow brush. On to the next 3 brushes. Of course, you have what they call a contour brush, and I call this a blending brush because it's not a pencil brush. It's wider, it's bigger, but you could definitely use it for applying. Because I have such small eyes, I'm very careful about how I apply like my crease shadow. So I would dab it in with a blending brush that isn't too spread out but also is not too dense. So the 219, for instance, I'm analyzing a lot by MAC brushes, but because I'm doing this in English, I know that you'll be able to go look and see what I mean. I apologize in advance for doing that. I notice I do that a lot, but because those were my first ever brushes, I tend to compare a lot to those. This one is a wonderful brush. I use this all the time. I'm trying to think about the other brush that kind of reminds me that I'm using by this. I just can't remember the company. I do use this a lot. This is one of my favorites, and this is definitely being used a lot. The next two brushes are very small brushes, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Like if I'm taking the nice C brush next to them, so you can see like the proportions, you can tell how small these are. One of them is a small smudge brush, and that's this little narrow brush. But really, when I look at this brush, I'm saying to myself, oh, it's a lipstick brush, and this would do the job really nice. It's nice and dense. It has a nice firm shape to it. That means it doesn't, the hairs are not spreading up all over the place, and this would do a wonderful job. I suppose you could use this as a smudge brush, but it feels a little bit too rough in order to be a smudge brush. The other one I would just use for eyebrows, simply because it's a nice small angled brush. It's nice and small, so for somebody like me, again, small eyes, I'd rather have smaller brushes and work in really small strokes in order to build. This does a wonderful job. I don't think there's a brush here that I don't love. There's ones that I definitely love more than others, like the flat top brush, again for my complexion. The C brush, that definitely is, if you're only looking for one brush to stick in your makeup bag to go along and around the day, this is definitely a wonderful brush to do, because it blends, it applies, it does everything you want it to do. And all in all, I really recommend this set, especially if you're a beginner. This is a wonderful all-in-all set, because I would use the small smudge brush for using on your lips, and that's about it. So you have everything you need in here as far as I'm concerned. So you have everything you need in here as far as I can tell. That was it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done it already and you would like to see more videos by me, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. As always, all my links to my social media will be down in the description box. My Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, my Facebook page, and my blog page. So feel free to go in there. I upload on my blog page quite often outfits of the day, and also sometimes faces of the day, although those tend to go up more on my Instagram. So please check it out. That was all for today. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hi fashionistas, I'm back, and I'm doing today the second part of my e.l.f. review brush. Hi fashionistas, I'm back, and I'm doing today the second part of my e.l.f. brush review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Studio line, I'm sorry, and you can get, like before, like the other line, you